dot, maybe 10 seconds or so before 7 o'clock. Good evening, everyone. How are you doing this evening? It's Tuesday Night Live. Tuesday Night Live in the house. Hello. Good evening. I'm going to wait for you to come in. Hello, hello. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to the show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I thank you so much for choosing me to spend some time with tonight on Tuesday Night Live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Everyone come on in, drop where you are viewing from down in the chat. I have an update. People have reached out to me and said, Cynthia, I'm giving you chats, I'm answering your questions and giving you your responses, but you don't seem to see them. And I did a little research and dug around a little bit. And this is the very interesting thing with YouTube. I have it set up that my subscribers are the ones who are able to chat with me. And I'm going to keep it like that. I see my hair sticking up. So first of all, welcome and subscribe to the channel. Okay, let's say, hopefully you are already a subscriber. And I really hope that you are. I'd love for you to be a part of the Right Recipe for Travel family. So if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe. All right. But if, let's say you already are a subscriber and you're still putting chats in there and I'm not seeing them, weird thing, sometimes it seems that you're unsubscribed for whatever reason. You didn't go in and unsubscribe to the channel, but for some reason you get unsubscribed. So first thing right now, just take a look and make sure that you are actually subscribed to the channel. That's the first thing. And hopefully if you go back and change that, make sure you're subscribed, you can go ahead and chat. Actually put something in live chat. I know people have been saying I'm answering and you're not saying anything and I'm not seeing yeah, and that's absolutely true. So I just went in there and looked and it is set up for subscribers to be able to live chat. So that's the first thing. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tonight I've got a bunch of cruise news stories to share tonight. There is a lot going on in travel, a lot going on in the world, a lot going on in cruising, and I've got plenty to share with you tonight. So can everybody hear me well? Give me a thumbs up. Let me know that everything is going good in our world tonight. Okay, looks like everything's good. All right. I've got some questions for you before I jump into what I'm going to talk to you about tonight. It's a lot of cruise news, actually, besides some Q&A that I have for you. And hopefully you'll be able to hear me and jump into the chat. So I have my first question for you this evening. It's going to be a crazy one. How is your day today? Or how was your day today? I mean, we still have day left. How is your day today? How has your Tuesday been? But you can only answer with an emoji or with emojis. So type in the chat how your day was so that when I look at it, it's only emojis, but I can figure out how your day was. And I'm going to put mine in there too. Let me give you a clue. I went to the dentist today. My mouth, I'm so glad to see that I'm not like this anymore. That would not have been a great chat. I went and had some dental work done and it's just now back down to the size and shape that your mouth should be. So I'm feeling where they went in and did that dental work. That's part of how my day was today. But how was your day today? Drop it down in the comments, only using emojis. Yep. Let me tell you how the day was today for the cruising industry. As you know, it is hurricane season. So what happens for cruises during hurricane season? Well, there's a lot of changes and diversions so that they can keep the ship, but more importantly, all of us safe. So here's some of the big stories that are going on today in cruise news. It says cruise lines are rerouting ships because of tropical storm Imelda and Hurricane Umberto, with an H, Umberto. Let's talk about it. It says cruise ships departing from Port Canaveral are adjusting itineraries as tropical storm Imelda and Hurricane Umberto approach the Atlantic. Are any of you out there being challenged by any of these storms? Are you getting ready to go on a cruise? Or are you on your cruise and you've gotten notice from the cruise lines that they're changing your itinerary or your cruise has been delayed? If so, drop it down in the comments. Some ships, and here are a few of them, the MSC Meraviglia, Royal Caribbean's Symphony of the Seas, those are just two that they're naming, have been rerouted to avoid high winds and rough seas. Carnival Cruise Line reported 8 ships affected, with some passengers spending extra days at sea and others visiting alternative ports. And it says here, it remains uncertain how the storms will develop over the coming days and whether additional itinerary changes will be necessary. And they're still not sure about the exact passenger impact, but they know that many cruises could be affected. So I have another question for you. Has this ever happened to you on any of your cruises? Have you had to be rerouted, canceled altogether, itineraries changed, delayed, spending extra days in ports because of a storm? Yeah. It happens during hurricane season. That's another reason why cruises are usually less expensive during this time frame. It's hurricane season. So they want to keep us safe. And I know it's a bummer if you've gotten on a specific ship, particularly for an itinerary, you really wanted to go to a particular place. That's why you booked the cruise, and then they change your itinerary. It's not cool. It's a bummer. It's not cool at all. It's happened. It's happened to us, and we didn't love it, but we needed to be safe. We one time went to an island. I don't even remember at this time which island it was, but it was like months after a hurricane had hit that island. Once again, I don't remember which island it was, but it was like maybe 3 or 4 months afterwards. And we went to that island, and it was so sad. It was still, you could just still see the ravages all over the island. And this was months and months later after the hurricane had hit. So they're doing all that they can to keep us safe. I know, but it's a bummer when you don't get to go to the place that you were told you were going to go. And I've read a cruise contract live before. I think I did it on TikTok, and I might do it on one of my YouTube lives. They have absolutely no obligation to give us any compensation if they change due to weather. If you read the contract, it's usually due to a lot of things, but if they change it due to weather, they don't have to compensate us at all. Nothing. So I'm looking, and what I'm seeing is that I need some thumbs up. So go ahead and tap down on that thumbs up button. Give me some likes so this can help boost the video out to others, and share the video. Click on the share button. Let other people know there is a live going on right now, and we're here having fun. So tap down on that thumbs up button. Give me some thumbs up. Let me continue to read here about this. Cruise lines often adjust routes during hurricane season to ensure passenger safety. It says Port Canaveral is a major hub for Caribbean and Atlantic cruises. Making weather-related rerouting is a very common precaution. So they're just letting us know. They're keeping an eye on the weather. The cruise lines really want to find out what's going on way ahead of us as well, because people being upset and them having to reroute, it's not good for them either. So right now, today is Tuesday, September 30th. Can you believe it? It's the last day of September already. So the last day of September, officially October tomorrow, and they're not sure though yet of how these storms are going to continue to affect. So if you're going on a cruise anytime soon, you might be in the path of one of these storms. Of course, keep yourself aware. Make sure you download the app from whichever cruise line you're on. Watch that weather so you can stay aware. And if they're going to do any changes before you get on the cruise, usually they send you out an email notice, some kind of notification. You're notified usually. Not always, because things are ever changing with weather. You might actually get on and everything's good, and then you hear that doo-doo. That's supposed to be the notice for the loudspeaker, and then they tell you, there's a change. So just letting you know, there is Tropical Storm Imelda brewing up and Hurricane Humberto, and we all want to stay safe. So that is our first cruise news story. All right, let me close this out. So don't forget, I've asked, where are you viewing from? Type that down in the comments. And in order to type a comment, you do have to be subscribed. Subscribe to the channel. Give us a thumbs up. Man, I've given you guys a lot of instructions for the day. Please and thank you very much. And I'm so glad to have you here. All right. And then I've asked you, tell me how your day has been so far but you can only use emojis to tell me. And I'm going to take a look in those comments and see, is our day, has it been pretty good or pretty meh? All right. I have another question for you. It's a either or. It's an either or. I'm just interested in part of my family, my Right Recipe for Travel family. What are your likes? What do you prefer? So my first question is, are you more of a coffee person or a tea person? And no, there's no answer for neither. Neither. No, there's no answer for that. Coffee or tea? Drop it down in the comments. Truthfully, I do like both, but I can tell you with 100% certainty that answer would be coffee for me. As I have gotten a little bit older, I have started to drink a little bit less coffee, and I have switched to decaf on most occasions. But coffee, please. Coffee for me. All right, let me give you some more cruise news, and I'm going to fill you in about some things with us as well, our next cruise. So Royal Caribbean, we're going to switch over to Royal Caribbean now. I have a cruise news story that happened, it says 13 hours ago, so early today or maybe even late yesterday, September 29th, Royal Caribbean cruise ship rescues dozens of people lost at sea. And I see those thumbs up. Keep tapping down on that thumbs up button. Give me that thumbs up. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Give me that thumbs up. Thank you. A Royal Caribbean cruise ship reportedly rescued 12 people who were lost at sea after the luxury liner diverted its route in order to avoid a storm. So this cruise ship was going to go in one direction, but once again, these tropical storms and hurricanes are brewing up, so it was diverted. And because of that, it ran into 12 people who needed rescue out there on the sea. A vessel called, it says a vessel. The ship was Enchantment of the Seas. It changed its schedule on September 28th, dodging Hurricane Humberto. It found a makeshift raft. And if you go online, you can see what this raft looked like. It was not sturdy. It was not sturdy at all. Of approximately a dozen people while the ship traveled from Tampa, Florida to Costa Maya, Mexico. Now, as a cruise line and as a cruise ship, they are required to render aid if they come across anyone who needs help. So they did what they were required to do. They rendered aid. Enchantment of the Seas stopped to investigate the situation and rendered aid. Video footage of the Royal Caribbean cruise ship was shared on social media, so it is out there. The videos show what Cruise News Today claimed to be a passenger aboard the Enchantment of the Seas. So what that meant was somebody aboard the ship was filming this, and they shared the video. Let me see. Once the individuals were rescued, right? Once the individuals were rescued from the raft and brought into the ship, they were provided with drinking water. They render aid. They do whatever they needed to do. They get them on board the ship. If they need food, if they need water, if they need medical attention, they're given whatever it is they need, and then they are released over to the local authorities of wherever they need to go. It says here, Royal Caribbean's Enchantment of the Seas assisted the people onto their ship. Let's see, that their raft was starting to fall apart. That's what the people who were rescued, that's what they were told. Their raft started to fall apart. Let's see, the rescue mission took place somewhere between Mexico and Cuba. Let's see, what else? I want to know if no, it doesn't say what happened. They just released them to the authorities once they were treated. It doesn't say how long they were on board or whatever the situation. It just says it was somewhere between Mexico and Cuba. So kudos for you, Enchantment of the Seas. Have you ever experienced something like that? Seen like a live rescue that's actually taken place? That would be different, interesting. Yeah. I'm not sure what I would do either, but kudos to Royal Caribbean for taking care of the people, because that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to take care of one another, not be mean to one another, love one another. All right. I have another question for you. Please keep them going, because I love to go back in and look at the comments. I love it. Marvel or DC? Are you more of a Marvel fan or a DC fan? There's no answer. There's no choice for other. If you had to pick, like you just had to, which one? Marvel or DC? Here's my answer. I would lean much more to Marvel. I enjoy DC, but they're darker. You know, they're heavier, they're weightier, they're that kind of thing, which is fine. Sometimes you want that type of drama or action. But I think I enjoy Marvel just a little bit better. Although I did enjoy this last Superman that just came out. My grandson said it was great, one of his favorite movies. I have to admit, I did fall asleep in Superman. That doesn't mean I didn't like it. I was tired. We went, and those movies are usually pretty long, and I was enjoying it, and then I woke up. So, but my grandson did assure me that it was a great movie. But the part that I saw, I did like. I did like it. Yeah. Let me go on to some more cruise news for you. I'm going to talk to you about something closer to home for me, and then give you a little update for me. There's a story here about MSC Seascape. And why is that a story? Well, MSC Seascape, as you know, is getting ready to be home ported here in Texas, out there in Galveston, which of course we're happy. We want mega ships. We want the new, and we want that right here. We don't want to always have to go to Florida like anybody else who doesn't live in Florida. I understand. So it's exciting to have some of the newer ships, some of the big mega ships right here in Galveston. And MSC Seascape, which is a beautiful, beautiful ship, will be coming to home port here in Galveston in November. So I can say in just a couple of hours next month. Their official sailings begin November 9th, but me as a travel advisor, we have been invited. A few of us have been invited to go on this special preview cruise right before that. So I'm very excited. And MSC is excited about being in Texas. Okay. I have a question. For anyone who is not from Texas, if you're from Texas, don't answer, just smile. But what is your impression of Texas? Like when you think of Texas, what comes to mind? I remember years ago, when I was a little young thing, and I was told we were moving to Texas. And I was like, Texas? And boop, I know what came to my mind, what I saw. It's hilarious now, but I was not familiar with Texas. I lived in the Northeast and had never come to the South. And then I was told we were moving to Texas, and I'm like, what? Texas? What comes to your mind when you think of Texas? I'm just going to leave it right there, and then I'm going to read you the story. I'll tell you why I asked that. Because the headlines say for the story, MSC Seascapes stocks up on Texas-inspired cuisine for its Galveston debut. So MSC is trying to figure out what we can do to make our ship more Texas. It's a very European ship, and currently it sails out of Miami. So although it is a very European ship, it has a very Miami vibe. I don't know what vibe that is, but if anybody has been on it and been to Miami, you know what I mean. It has that kind of flavor, that Caribbean Latino flavor. I don't know if I'm even saying it right, but very European ship. Beautiful ship, but with that vibe. So now it's moving from Miami to Texas. They want to Texify it. A new word, right? So they're trying to figure out what would Texans like. So what comes to mind when you think of Texas? Let me read to you what comes to mind when MSC people think of Texas. It says, not long ago, MSC revealed entertainment options to the soon-to-be MSC Galveston-bound Seascape. They decided that they are going to have a honky-tonk band. So I want to ask you, when you think of Texas, do you think of honky-tonk? And please, anyone down below, tell me what honky-tonk is. I've heard of honky-tonk, but I don't really, if I had to be quizzed on it, I can't really say that I know what that is. If you know what honky-tonk is, drop it down. MSC thinks Texas equals honky-tonk. So they have a honky-tonk band called the Lone Star. Appropriate name, and they have big screen sports for all of the fans, because they realize that if it's a choice between a cruise and maybe a Dallas Cowboys game or some kind of Texas game, people might choose the game. So you don't have to choose. Come on the ship and we'll have big screen TVs playing your favorite sports teams on the ship. Does that equal Texas to you? sports and football and things like that. Let me see, what else did they put on here? Okay, for the dining, starting November 9th, the brand new MSC Seascape will sail out of Terminal 16 there in Galveston. And they have decided on specific foods for the Texas crowd. And this is what they have decided. Tell me if this is what comes to mind for you when you think of Texas. Thank you for those thumbs up. I know we can do more. Slap down on that thumbs up button. And please do share this out with anyone. And let me know where you are viewing from. Also, let me know if you're more of a coffee or tea person, more of a Marvel or DC fan. How was your day? Or how has your day been? Only using emojis, right? Okay. Here's the food that they've decided on. Texas style prime rib. What do you think? I don't know what makes it Texas style instead of just prime rib, but Texas style prime rib. Cajun spiced pork loin. When you think of Texas, does Cajun spiced pork loin just come to mind? And then huevos rancheros. Okay. I'm reading this. And then for your drinks, as it says to wet your whistle, they have something called the spicy Mexican margarita. I think anybody who enjoys margaritas would probably enjoy that. And then something called backyard punch, which they don't say what's inside of the backyard punch. It says here, these choices, the cruise line promises, stem from actual field research. They haven't just made up something. They've gone out to figure out what Texans want. It says here that they went all throughout Texas, the top brass here at MSC, looking for what would be Southern, what would be Texan, what would we like to eat, what kind of music we'd like to hear, what kind of entertainment we'd like to enjoy. And these are some of the things that it came up with. I want to know, what are your thoughts? Do you think they've nailed it? They've nailed it? Let me read a little bit more of this story. It says, as we welcome even more guests from Texas and the South on cruises from Galveston, we're leaning into the region's uniquely American cuisine. Okay. Our team has traveled the state to gather inspiration for what guests will find on board. And we've paired that with some of MSC Cruises' most popular offerings from Europe and around the world. So an interesting pairing. Let me see. Let me give you some other things that'll be aboard. It says breakfast offerings will include, and I said already, huevos rancheros with refried beans, chicken and waffles drizzled with maple hot sauce. And of course, an omelet station featuring Tex-Mex tacos and barbacoa options. How's that sound? Doesn't sound bad to me. For lunch and dinner buffet, guests can choose between prime rib, as I discussed, but it says Texas style, Cajun spiced pork loin with dirty rice. Just in time for the holidays, herb rubbed slow roasted turkey with roasted corn and poblano, buttermilk, mashed potatoes, and collard greens. What y'all say? What you say now? What do you think? Sound good? It's making me hungry because it's time for dinner, but this is what they went all out doing their market research, and this is what they found would be something good to have. Texas inspired. Yeah. The main dining room on the Seascape, which is called the Green Wave, it says will rotate daily regional menus between what it's calling Texas favorites. And here are some of the Texas favorites. Smoked brisket, vegan blackberry cobbler. They'll have an Italian night when you can get clam linguine and veal, let me say this right, ossobuco, I don't know what that is, and Caribbean flair, fried crab cakes, and cabbage slaw. Then they do have a tour of brunch. These are options that they have on sea days, and this includes jumbo cheeseburgers, Tunisian shakshuka. I've never heard of that. Shakshuka, which it says in parentheses, because I'm probably not the only one who's never heard of that, poached eggs in a spiced tomato pepper sauce. Has anyone out there ever had shakshuka? And did I say it wrong? Japanese style karaage fried chicken and perennial kids favorites like French toast sticks. So kids don't have to worry. You don't have to go through some kind of fancy weirdness. I'm sure, like every cruise line knows, kids like simple stuff, pizzas and chicken nuggets and French fries and tater tots and stuff like that. I think it's kind of cute that they are trying their best to bring what they consider people in this region will want. And you want to be catered to. But I think we are looking for something new and exciting here cruising out of Texas as well. I'm fine with these options, but it's kind of interesting, their thought process here. It says that the ship will also has several specialty dining areas like Kaido Sushi Bar and then Kaido Teppanyaki, Butcher's Cut, which is their steak restaurant, and Ocean Key Seafood Restaurant. But they also have the complimentary breakfast at Ola Tacos and Cantina. The food, I enjoyed the food on MSC Seascape. If you want to get a little bit more detail about MSC, what they're really like, what you can expect, what the entertainment is like, what the food is like, just go into my playlist and check out MSC. And you can see I have a whole week's worth of video, what MSC really is like, what you can expect, what their private island is like, what the food and the service is like. MSC is a strong contender. I plan to go on many more, whether they were here leaving out of Galveston or not. They have exquisitely beautiful ships, top-notch entertainment. And I think they've heard the feedback that we have given here in North America, and they're changing it to suit our tastes a little bit more. I had a wonderful time on MSC, and I enjoyed the food. And the food that I didn't enjoy, I sent it back and got something else, like I do at any other ship. So I'm looking forward to it. Let me see, what else did I want to tell you? It says here, MSC Bourbon and Bacon Experience. This is going to be a first that they're going to have aboard the Seascape. Sounds exciting, right? It invites guests to explore curated bourbon selections alongside flavorful bacon pairings that are designed to delight the senses and deepen appreciation for the classic American spirit. I don't know. What do you think about that? Bourbon and bacon experience. The bourbon and bacon. Do bourbon and bacon go well together? They're going to try it out. Is there anyone who has traveled on MSC and you have some thoughts about it? Or are you looking to travel on MSC? If you ever need help booking your cruise travel or any travel, just drop me information down or DM us. We can help you with that. But I'm here to just say to everyone, MSC is a great, strong contender for cruising. They go to some really great ports. I think their private island is wonderful. And I'm not even into private islands. I would rather go, in my opinion, and experience a culture of people and places that I've wanted to go to than a cruise ship's private island. That's just me. But going to theirs, I had a great time. And I didn't do much, I didn't do much, but I enjoyed the entertainment offerings they had there, the beautiful sand beaches, the relaxing places, the food trucks that were all around, the music. I had a great time. And if you stay overnight, because some of their ships stay overnight there, or they go very late, they have the lighthouse light show. Gorgeous. It's great, gorgeous. I think MSC is really, they're really trying hard to dig in and get some market share, and I think they're going to do it. Anybody going on an MSC cruise out of Galveston anytime soon, you can start beginning November 9th. And I will be there in Galveston in early November as well, and I'm going to bring you all of the footage. So if you want to really see what it's like, we're going, our travel agency has some people going, and I'm going to give you the full scoop. They're going to peel back the curtain and I'll show you everything. Hopefully we'll be able to see like crew areas. Now that I would really like to see. I'd love to see, how does the crew live? And maybe do a galley tour and see, maybe just a few things extra that you don't normally get to see. I am looking forward to that. So that is MSC. All right. I have another question for you. I'm looking because I have to keep notes to make sure I stay on topic here. One more question for you. That's not true. I'm going to ask you a lot more questions, but one more either or question. Are you a cat or a dog person? Cat or dog? Not both. Don't say both. Of course, you might love them both. Don't say neither. If you had to choose, I said had to. I don't know what mystical world it would be in that you would have to, but let's just pretend with me for a minute. You had to choose. Are you more of a cat person or a dog person? And do you have a furry friend? Do you have a fur baby? What's their name? Yeah, right now I do not have a fur baby. I think it would be a little unfair because I do travel so much. I would like to. Yeah. All right, I want to tell you more. Let me see. I have more to tell you. I'm trying to decide which one I want to share with you first. More of a happier, upbeat, or let's go with this one. I'm going to share with you. This is what the headline says. This cruise line is launching the very first all U.S. sailing on the Great Lakes. Yeah. When I way back when, went on my very first cruise, I was like, wow, there's hardly any Americans working on the ship. I didn't get it. I didn't get how it worked. I didn't understand the money, the logistics, all that. And I was like, and then as you cruise more, you're like, why don't more Americans work as servers or bartenders or waiters or wait staff? And we figure that out. Why, why? Why aren't there more American not tours, but stops? And well, here we go into a place that's going to change that. Let me read you this. Small ship cruise company, American Cruise Line, will launch the first all domestic Great Lakes sailing next year. So in America, cruising the Great Lakes. This is in a celebration of America's small towns and lakes cities in time for next summer. It says that the ship will have 3 new itineraries, which run from May through August of 2026. It'll be on the cruise line's newest ship, which sails across Lake Ontario, Lake Erie, Lake Michigan, and Lake Huron, all without crossing into Canada. So they're going to be sailing up there in my neck of the woods. They're actually going to stop in Buffalo. I am originally from Buffalo, and it says they're going to stop there. I'm just trying to figure out how that's going to work. Let me continue to read. It says, let's see, the 9 and 14-day cruises explore cities like Syracuse, New York, Cleveland, Ohio, and Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And they mark the first Great Lake cruises for the company. Would that be something that would interest you, to cruise the Great Lakes and like stay right here in America and just go to these places, Syracuse, New York, Cleveland, Ohio, and Milwaukee, Wisconsin, cruising the Great Lakes? I don't know. It sounds intriguing. It sounds intriguing. What do you think? Let me read more. Along the way, passengers will be able to go paddleboarding, kayaking, and kite surfing on Lake Michigan, visiting historic lighthouses, and a lot more. Other highlights include a visit to the Susan B. Anthony Museum and House in Rochester, New York, a docent-led tour of the Harley-Davidson Museum in Milwaukee, a glass-bottom boat ride to view a shipwreck, and a visit to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland. It sounds intriguing. What do you think? Is that anything that would interest you? Great Lakes river cruising. It says that they're saying here that people have asked for this. They have been getting feedback that they want something like that. Why is there not something like that being offered? And so they're responding. They're like, okay, you want this type of cruise, we're going to deliver it to you now. Now what are you going to do with it? We're very proud, it says, to offer these cruises as only Americans can, aboard a new small ship sailing 100% domestically. Okay? It says the ship, when it says small ships, 130 passenger ships, 130 guests, 130 guests can be on this ship. And all of the ships looks like they have their own private balconies. There's a skywalk, a chart room, a fitness center, a laundry room, and more. Each trip will also celebrate American cuisine in the restaurant with locally sourced ingredients. On each new voyage, passengers will receive daily guided excursions, Wi-Fi, and gratuities are included, as well as complimentary cocktails to toast the trip. And you also get a free pre-cruise hotel stay. and free domestic airfare. Wow. They say that single travelers are welcome. They have a single traveling supplement here and balconies that are especially for single travelers. So what do you think? I think this could be very cool. I think this would be nice. Cruising the Great Lakes areas. They have right now a fleet, American Cruise Line, of 28 ships, and they sail exclusively in the United States, including the Mississippi River, on the Columbia and Snake Rivers, across Alaska and beyond. But starting next year, they're going to be doing these cruises. Let me know, what are your thoughts about this? I thought that was pretty cool, to sail the Great Lakes, small ships. You know, right now the big thing, the headlines are the big ships, the largest cruise ships in the world. They're building them bigger and bigger. And of course, if they build them bigger, they have the opportunity to give us more entertainment options, more food options, more specialty dining and all of that. And that's exciting. It's exciting. You know, it's the wow moment when you go on this huge floating city. You're like, wow, that's really cool. It is. But I think there's also a place for small ship cruising. And that might be the place right there. I like it. All right, before I move on to more cruise news stories, I'm going to ask you again to smash down on that like if you haven't already. Let us know where you are viewing from. And I have some questions for you. I want to know how much cruise knowledge you really have. I looked these up, right? I tried to curate some fun questions. You can't cheat. Don't cheat. That means you can't look it up. I'm going to ask you some questions. Drop them down in the comments, and at the end, I'm going to give you the answers. Some of these, of course, you're going to know the answers, but maybe not. Question number 1. Which cruise line currently operates the largest cruise ship in the world? That's for 1 point. Yeah, you probably know this. And what's it called? So that's one question for 2 points. Which cruise line currently operates the largest cruise ship in the world? And for your second point, what's the name of that ship? All right, we're going to keep going. I'm going to give you the answers. Drop it down. I'm going to see how many of you know. I'm going to talk to you now about Carnival Cruise Line. Let me tell you what's going on with them. The headlines read, Carnival Cruise Line expanding a new lunch option for families. Okay, so let me set up the story. You have your mom, dad, and some kids, or you have a family and teenagers and whatever, but you have this is a family group. Let's just say you have some kids trudging along, and that could be babies all the way up to teenagers. And the kids really want to go to the kids zone. They don't want to come and sit with the adults and listen to dueling pianos and stuff like that. So you go and you get them for dinner, but they're whiny and they're kind of fussy and they're a little cranky. They want to go back to the kids zone. So they don't want to spend a whole bunch, an hour and a half, 2 hours in the dining room. So here is Carnival's answer to that. Carnival Cruise Line is making it easier for families to refuel with their new Family Express menus for lunch at the Lido Marketplace buffet. The new menu right now is only on a few ships. The ones that have been confirmed are Carnival Celebration, Carnival Horizon, Carnival Jubilee, and Carnival Vista. These are confirmed. They're doing this new Family Express menu, but guests have also stated that they've seen it aboard the Magic, the Pride, the Sunshine, the Paradise, the Conquest, the Freedom, and the Glory. So you might see it on those ships there as well, but it hasn't been confirmed to be fully operational just yet. Okay, so here's how it works. What they do in the buffet is they set up this one area that has all of the food. You know how you go over here and you get your fruits, and then you go over there and you get your breads and your pastries, and you go over there and you have maybe the meats, and then you go over there for the salads. Well, instead of doing that, they have this family menu area where you can go and it's all right there. You can get your meat, you can get your salad, you can get your bread, you can get your dessert, boom, all in one place. You don't have to go to separate areas of the buffet, and it just helps to speed it up, to make it a little bit quicker, that you can grab your plate, get everything you want in that one section, sit down, eat, and be done. A key aspect of the Family Express menu is that it is all in one place, from the pasta and salads to entrees and desserts. This makes it simpler to collect a full meal with no need to move through a longer buffet line or visit multiple serving stations. It says that guests have been giving praise to this. They're pleased with it, and they think that it's very helpful for lunch. And people are saying, but please do it for dinner time as well. And they're expanding it to dinner. They're trying to push it out and see how it's being received. People are enjoying it, not just people with kids. Somebody said, I don't have kids and I'm a picky eater and I love this. They said, I like kid foods. Yes. It says here, you don't have to have kids or you don't have to be in a family in order to do this Family Express buffet. But Carnival is rolling this out and they've been getting good reviews, really good reviews about it. What do you think? It says that they have different daily specials. For example, each Family Express menu includes a pasta of the day selection, such as rigatoni meatball pasta or classic, of course, mac and cheese, right? They can also request things like plain spaghetti with Alfredo or pomodorini marinara sauce. Okay. There's also things like salads, carrot and raisin, rainbow pasta, Tex-Mex bean salad, all of the stuff just right there in that one spot. I think this is a great idea. I don't necessarily know like if I would do it or whatever, but like if I ever decided to take my little grandkids with me, I think that would be really good. Just wrangle them all together and you don't have to like, where's she? Did she go over here? Did he go over there? You can wrangle them all together, grab the stuff, sit down and eat. I like it. I think it's a good idea. What do you say? I like it. Good job, Carnival. Yeah. When my kids were younger, we went on one cruise and I remember we sat down in the dining room for most of our meals. And sitting in the dining room does take longer. There's no doubt about it. You know, you can go to the buffet, especially if you want to get back to what you were doing. You want to get your kids back to the kids zone. You want to go see a show or something. It does take longer sitting in the dining room. You can move quicker if you go maybe to the buffet and having like a one-stop shop for them. That would have worked. Yeah, I remember that well. Good job. All right. How are we doing on the likes and the shares and the questions? Have you thrown them? Now remember, in order to answer the questions, I have it set up that you need to subscribe. So please do subscribe to the channel. And if you think that you've already subscribed, or even let's say you know, just double check. I don't know why sometimes it shows that you think you're subscribed and you're not, or you've been unsubscribed. So click down on that and answer question number 2, because here's my second question. What is the name of Royal Caribbean's private island in the Bahamas? Most people know this, I think. What is the name? No cheating. Don't go look it up. What is the name of Royal Caribbean's private island in the Bahamas? First question was, what cruise line currently operates the largest cruise ship in the world? And what is the name of that ship? Second question, what is the name of Royal Caribbean's private island in the Bahamas? So I got 2 questions with 3 answers. 3 choices. I want to tell you more cruise news. Here's the headline for this one. Popular cruise line makes major change to its reward program. But this is a real plus. Now we've heard about, this is not the Carnival royalty change. We've heard about Carnival's change and the shakeup and all of that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about a different change. This is Norwegian Cruise Line. Let me read it to you. Norwegian Cruise Line has just announced a big change to its loyalty program that has fans cheering. We like this one. The popular global cruise line announced that members of its Latitudes Rewards program will now have their status honored across all 3 brands in its family. And before I tell you the names of the brands, I could have asked this as one of the questions tonight. Do you know the brands, the 3 brands of Norwegian Cruise? I'm going to tell you in a second. But why don't all cruise lines do this? I kind of thought that they would all do it. You know, there's like Carnival, right? Carnival Corporation, but they have 9 different cruise lines that they own. Why doesn't your status match through all of those? So Norwegian has said, from now on, if you sail on our ships, if you're a Pinnacle member or a Platinum member on this brand, you'll be a Platinum on all of our brands. And the 3 brands for Norwegian are Oceania, Regent Seven Seas, and of course, Norwegian. Norwegian, Oceania, and Regent Seven Seas. And ooh, I'm ready to travel on Regent Seven Seas. Have you seen the commercials lately for Regent Seven Seas? Boy, oh boy, I love it. Okay, here's the scene. There's this couple and they're waiting in their house. Right. And somebody rings the doorbell. Bing, bing. And they calmly get up and the butler, or let me know, the chauffeur is smiling. Like, I'm here to get you for your cruise. And then they go and get into their chauffeur-driven vehicle. And then I guess, I don't know where the chauffeur takes them, if they take them to the airport or to a hotel. But the next scene, it comes to the ship and they get out of their limo and they're there at the ship and they go into this humongous suite, and the butler with his white gloves, he's making sure that the bed sheets are nice and smooth as he smiles and welcomes them in. And it just goes on and on like that. Regent Seven Seas, my goodness. I would love that white glove treatment and pick me up from the airport and pick me up from my hotel. And yeah, it's spectacular. So if you travel on Norwegian Cruise Lines and you are a Platinum member, you will now be a Platinum member on Oceania or Regent Seven Seas. So without even traveling on those other 2 brands, you will already have status. I think this is the way it should go. Anyway, this will start effective October 15th, so they're not messing around. In 2 weeks, this will be effective. Members of the brand's 3 loyalty membership programs, Latitude Rewards, that's for Norwegian, Oceania Club for Oceania, and then the Seven Seas Society will have their tier honored at the closest corresponding tier across all 3 brands. As part of the new NCLH loyalty status honoring program, guests can now earn loyalty points across all 34 ships sailing to 700 destinations worldwide. Great. It says here, we want our guests to feel rewarded whenever they choose to sail within our family of award-winning cruise brands, said Harry Sumner, who is the president and chief executive officer of Norwegian Cruise Lines. You know, that statement, we would wish and hope that all of the cruise lines would feel that way. And I know that it's a lot more to do probably with money and shareholders, but I just think that is what should happen. All of the cruise brands that they own, you know. With the new loyalty status honoring program, our guests can experience more of what makes each brand special while still enjoying the loyalty recognition they have worked hard to achieve. It says that you can take a look at the Facebook page for Norwegian, and fans are cheering. They're saying, way to go, kudos, this is what you should do, good job. Other cruise lines, take a look, and I agree. I think this is the right direction. You know, finally something coming out and we're not going, you know, after the cruise shut down, so many things in cruising have been taken away or have changed. And when I say taken away, they don't do it anymore, but you're still charged the same price, or they give you less. They give you less. I remember, you know, I've been cruising for many, many years, but back in the day, they would pull the chair out for you when you would go to sit down at dinner and put your napkin across your lap. Well, I mean, not everybody wants that. I understand. Not everybody wants that, but that was part of it. Now, forget it. You know, you would get your room made up twice a day. No way. Just on and on it goes. I'm not going to beat it up. We all know things have changed. And it hasn't changed so much that I'm not going to cruise anymore. I like cruising. But things have changed, and so many times it's not like for the better for the consumer, you know. It's like, well, we're going to give you less, enjoy it. Here is something that fans are saying hooray to. You're not giving us less, and you're actually offering us the opportunity to possibly get a little bit more. So I'm going to go back on Norwegian. We've definitely sailed on Norwegian before. It's been a while. So it's time to give Norwegian another try and see what they offer. And then that can get me just a little bit closer to that white glove service and that butler coming to pick me up. on Regent Seven Seas. Way to go, Norwegian Cruise Line. I think it's great. Tell me, have you ever sailed on Norwegian? What are your thoughts about the ship and their itineraries and their service? Have you ever sailed on Oceania or Regent Seven Seas? We would love to hear some feedback about those. I have another question for you. I have several. No, I only have five. So I've given you question one, given you question two. Here's question three. Which cruise line is famous for its chocolate melting cake dessert? Which cruise line is famous for their chocolate melting cake dessert? Yeah. If you're a cruiser, you know these questions. I'm just throwing them out there. Which cruise line is it? All right. I'm going over to the next story, which happens to also be Norwegian Cruise Line. All right, it says Norwegian Cruise Line swaps ships and cancels dozens of sailings. So I'm turning it around. It was like the yay feel good story for Norwegian. Now let's see what's going on with Norwegian on the other side. All right, it says 4 ships are involved in the redeployment, shuffling, and latest cancellations. Those 4 ships are Norwegian Gem, Norwegian Dawn, Norwegian Getaway, and Norwegian Joy. The first 2 vessels, which is the Gem and the Dawn, will now be swapping home ports. Norwegian Gem will no longer be sailing from Jacksonville, Florida in November of 2026. They will now sail from Tampa. Norwegian Dawn will move to Jacksonville instead of Tampa. Okay. This will slightly reduce the guest capacity in Jacksonville because Norwegian Dawn is smaller than Norwegian Gem. It can accommodate 54 fewer travelers if it's at double occupancy. So not a whole bunch less, but 54 is less. All sailings during the impacted swap period are now canceled for both ships. This includes all previously planned Norwegian Dawn sailings from November 1st of 2026 to and including March 28, 2027. So I'm going to say that again. These are all being impacted and changed beginning November 1st of 2026 all the way to March 28th of 2027. Norwegian Gems cruises from November 1 all the way through April 2027 are also canceled. So these are a lot of cancellations. And I really do hope you're not hearing this the first time from me, that you have gotten some type of correspondence from Norwegian Cruise Line letting you know so that you can, maybe switch or make a decision on this, hopefully. New itineraries for both ships will be available for booking soon, but the exact details have not yet been released. So they're working on it. Fewer cruises are now canceled for Norwegian Getaway and Norwegian Joy, and for a completely different reason. Both ships will remain home ported as planned in Port Canaveral and Port Miami, but select short cruises can no longer be offered. So they're changing some of the short cruises. The impacted sailings for Norwegian Getaway are the ship's November 16, 20, and 25 departures. Also, their December 14 and December 18 cruises, all in 2026. They're all canceled. All of those are canceled. Wow. For Norwegian Joy, the December 18, 21, 24, and 28 departure dates in 2026 are all canceled. All of those are canceled. The cruise line has cited port availability as the primary reason for these cancellations. Port availability. On short sailings, ships can be quite limited in which ports they can reach and offer a suitable visit for guests. That's what they're saying. Now instead, Norwegian Cruise Line is planning longer, more immersive sailings for both ships, covering those time periods. So they're switching out the short cruises and they're going to add longer cruises. Those itineraries will be released and available for booking soon. They haven't released those yet. So hold on, it says, for eager guests, they're going to have that soon. And they're thinking, the holidays, when October rolls around, people start thinking holidays. So the holiday season is just right upon us, and I'm banking that they want to unveil this during the holiday season to get like a booking frenzy going. It says here that guests on impacted sailings are being offered some future cruise credit as compensation for their disappointment. Fortunately, since the first of the now canceled cruises is more than a year away, booked guests have plenty of time to adjust their travel plans and opt for a different cruise. I mean, that's a blow. Yeah, and I am glad that they gave it a year ahead, but it's still a blow because you still probably had to get your plans together. But they're saying, well, we're giving you plenty of time to change it. And they are offering some kind of compensations. It says here that new ships will be entering the fleet, port improvements are planned, and sharing ports with other cruise lines are all part of the scheduling challenges when planning itineraries years in advance. So they're just saying things have happened, life happens, and they've had to make a switch. It is tough. I'm as a travel advisor, I see it. I'm affected by it, both as a consumer and as a travel advisor. This happens often. Cruise lines change itineraries, cancel itineraries, things come up, weather, people, believe it or not, people can rent out a whole cruise ship and then if the money is right, they'll say okay to that. And anybody who was already booked is no longer booked. Things happen all the time. It's just a bummer, but at least they're giving us a year plus advance notice. That's a lot of changes. Yeah. So is anyone affected by these Norwegian Cruise Line changes? That's a lot. Have you gotten a notice that your cruise has been canceled? Leave a comment. Let us know what you think about this. I have the next question for you. Let me see, what was the last one? Okay. No, I already gave you that. Which destination is most popular for Alaskan cruises? So if you're heading to Alaska, which destination in Alaska is the most popular? And then I'm going to give you the last question because I have one more cruise story and that's it. Here's the last question. What was the first cruise ship to have a roller coaster on board? What was the first cruise ship to have a roller coaster on board? And after I read this cruise story, I'm going to give you the answers. Did you get 100? You get a gold star if you did. And you get to have the crown cruise trivia king or queen. You pick. All right. I have one more cruise news story that I am going to share with you tonight. And it's about my boy, Bobby Flay. You know Bobby Flay? I like Bobby Flay. He has so many shows on the Food Network and so many shows, Beat Bobby Flay and Backyard Bobby Flay. Bobby is doing it. Well, we've got some cruise news with Mr. Bobby. Let me go to it. I think hold on. Instead of going to it, I clicked off of it. Let me find it. I clicked off the wrong one. Because I definitely want to share with you what Bobby is doing. Oh, and there's also a cruise news story about Matthew McConaughey and his wife, Camilla. I'm just going to give you the highlight. They have now been named the godparents of Princess Cruise Line's newest ship. I'll tell you more about that in another video because I haven't researched that and got all the info yet. I want to share this one about Bobby. There will be a Bobby Flay helmed cruise on Norwegian, and it brings a food festival to the high seas. I thought this was exciting. I like him. Do you like Bobby Flay? Do you watch the Food Network? I like him. Food Network and Top Chef fans are in for a treat as Bobby Flay, along with several other celebrity chefs, are slated to set sail aboard the Norwegian Joy. I hope it's not one of those that were canceled. For a culinary sailing adventure that will take cruisers on a round-trip food, wine, and spirits festival at sea in the Caribbean. Excuse me. Bobby Flay says he's beyond thrilled to bring together such a talented group of chefs and friends for an unforgettable culinary adventure at sea. I'm looking for the names of the people. Okay, here is who will be in attendance. We will have Brooke Williamson, of course, Aaliyah Cohen, Scott Conant, Antonia LaFasa, Mark Murphy, Michael Voltaggio, Aisha Nurjaja, I might have said it wrong, Damaris Phillips, Is that everyone? Yeah, I think I said everybody. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm showing 8 people up here. Yeah. November 6th through 11th, 2026. And this will sail from Miami to Montego Bay, Jamaica, and Grand Cayman. It says once on board, you'll have access to ship exclusive chef demonstrations, curated dining experiences, culinary conversations, wine and spirits tastings, themed parties, wellness activities, a whole bunch more. I think that will be a lot of fun. Oh my gosh. So November 6th through 11th, 2026. Chefs Making Waves. Chef Making Waves, presented by Bobby Flay on the Norwegian Joy. So if any of you are interested in booking that and you need some help with that, let me know. I think I'm interested in that. My sister, who is another Food Network fan and a Bobby Flay fan, she would probably really like this. I think that would be smoking hot fun, and be able to meet all those chefs and have all that delicious food, and woo, that would be exciting. Anybody else think like me and think that would be exciting, or are you like boredom? I think it would be great. So November 6th through 11th. Okay, we're almost at the end of our time here because it's time for dinner. But I am so glad you spent an hour or so with me hearing about the latest cruise news, talking a little ship, letting me know some of your favorites. If you're a cat or a dog person, a Marvel or a DC person, if you're a coffee or tea person, I'm going to look. I want to know. You have described your day for me using only emojis. You've given us the thumbs up. You've made sure that you are subscribed to the channel, and you've answered these questions. All right, drum roll, please. There's the drum roll tonight. Here are the answers to the question. Number 1, which cruise line currently operates the largest cruise ships in the world? Well, this has been making mega news for the last year. That would be Royal Caribbean. And what is the name of the largest cruise ship in the world? Right now, that would be Star of the Seas, the just delivered ship that just came out. And previous to that, it would have been Icon. Number 2, what's the name of Royal Caribbean's private island in the Bahamas? And most people say this is the best private island that there is. That would be Perfect Day at Coco Cay, or Coco Key, right? Number 3, which cruise line is famous for their chocolate melting cake dessert? That is going to be Carnival Cruise Lines. Which destination is most popular for Alaskan cruises? That is Juneau. You know, Juneau, Alaska. That's the answer. And then number 5, the final one. What was the first cruise ship to have a roller coaster on board? I should have given you a second chance to say the ship and then what cruise line was it and then what ship, but I didn't. So that ship is the Mardi Gras. But which cruise line is it? Carnival. Carnival Mardi Gras. And the name of the roller coaster? Bolt. Bolt the roller coaster. When we went on the Jubilee, I told my sister, let's go ride Bolt. And we didn't get a chance to do it. I don't know if we really were trying to get a chance to do it. We were busy doing so many other things. It looked scary, exhilarating, thrilling, fun. But there is a roller coaster on board. All right. Did you get all those right? Congratulations. You are a star. You are a star. You are a star. That's right. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm going to see you back again next Tuesday. I'll have some more fun, some more questions, some more cruise news, and we'll get into it and talk ship together. I really appreciate you spending time with us tonight. Thank you. Have a good night. I'm going to see you at the next adventure. Bye.